So today is 9/28, 28th, 17. So when we look at this, the first step to knowing how to use the rules for sig figs, so there are two pieces to that. If you know how to determine whether it's significant or not, that's the first step, and then you have to know the rules to use them. So in number one, there are 4 significant figures. This 0 is between 2 non-zeros, and this one is after the decimal, so it is significant. So that's a 4. In number 2, those 2 are not significant. Those are considered placeholder zeros. They are non-significant. However, this one is at the end of a number, behind the decimal. It is significant. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. Zeros after the decimal at the end of a number are always significant. Those are telling you about the measure of precision possible with the instrument that you were using. Zeros at the end of a number that aren't followed by a decimal are not significant. Those are also placeholder zeros. So that only has 2 sig figs. In this case, this first 0 is between 2 non-zeros, which makes it significant. This 0 on the end is a placeholder 0. It's not significant, so there are 3 there. And on the last one, this one is not, I shouldn't do that. That one's not significant. This one's between 2 non-zeros, and this one's end of a number after the decimal. So that is significant. On the whole, people didn't do too badly with that. That was probably the best part of the quiz for most people, with a few tricky ones, but overall not bad. And I realized I did not put rounding on this, and I should have. I didn't have a mixed FIP quiz, so I made it up last night and this morning, and I forgot to put rounding on it. But we'll get to that. Okay. Okay, the first one. Now, remembering your Sig Fig rules, you have to keep all of those digits. Those are all significant. You can't get rid of those in scientific notation. So your final answer should be 3.6049 times 10 to the 6th micrograms. A few people got the exponents for micro mixed up. That happens. The next one, 0.0073 megagrams equals 7.3 kilograms. When it's 10 to the 0, you don't have to write that 10 to the 0. You can. It's not wrong. But 10 to the 0 is just 1. So when you get a 10 to the 0, you can just say, oh, that's the number. On the picograms, that ends up being 4.6 times 10 to the negative 6th kilograms. And, you know, note that I do write that out every time. And when I'm feeling especially stupid, honestly, I do that part in a calculator. When I haven't finished my second cup of coffee and I can't add 2 and 3 reliably, I back myself up. 2 plus negative 3 minus negative 6. Because some mornings you just feel dumb. So if you need the crutch, use the crutch. We have the crutch. All right, moving down. Okay, so 3.9 times 10 to the negative 6 megaliters is equal, and that's liters, and I don't know why I capitalized it, is 3.9 times 10 to the 2nd centiliters. 42 centigrams is 4.2 times 10 to the 2nd milligrams. The last one, again, it ends up as 10 to the 0, so that's just 1.9 milliliters. And yes, I am avoiding reading that number out loud because it'll be really slow and really ugly. Let's see, what would it be? I have to visually break it up. Oh, 1,900,000 nanoliters. So, okay, not so bad. Questions on identifying how many sig figs there are or doing the conversions? If you are having issues beyond, I screwed up my, the numbers, exponents, thank you. I'm here for an hour tonight. Now I have no study halls through the day. I have not, oh shoot, I have a phone conference after school tonight. I forgot about that. Okay, I can make stuff work. So if you need help, I can make things work. I can have lunch dates with people today if I need to. You'll have to watch me eat my hard-boiled eggs and hot sauce, but we can manage it. So if anybody needs to have a lunch date up in the junior pod, we can do that if you need help. If anybody needs to come in tomorrow morning, I'm here at 7 o'clock every stinking morning. So if you're having trouble beyond forgetting your exponents, you need to do something about it. So, All right, let's move to the back. As it said on the front of the quiz, sig figs count always. You always have to do sig figs. Are we doing sig figs? Are we in chemistry? Yes, then the answer is yes. So on the first one, your raw answer, the first answer I get, I write this down, even though it's not correct scientific notation. I do this in 2 steps. So the first thing I do is I move my decimal. And moving my decimal, and I usually, and you can see I did it down here. I didn't do it here, but when I have that 14.26 something, 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 I'm mentally going, okay, to the 9th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to come back one further. That's going to give me to the 10th. I see people who are making the same mistake that I commonly make. If you're making that mistake, use the crutch that I have built. I built that crutch because I make a stupid mistake. If you make the same stupid mistake that I make, I offer you this lovely crutch that I have constructed. Don't make the same stupid mistake I make. Find your own stupid mistake. That one's mine. Okay, we've got a workaround for that. So the final answer for that one is 1.4 times 10 to the 10th. You do have to have it in scientific notation, correct scientific notation, and you have to follow the rules for sig figs. This only has 2 sig figs, therefore your answer is limited to 2 sig figs. So there are multiple things going on there. You have to know how to do operations in scientific notation, you have to know how to determine how many sig figs there are, and you have to know the rules for scientific notation. It's a multi-step process. You give me 14.26 times 10 to the 9th, and I just mark it wrong. Okay, in the next one, again, you have to know how to do the mathematical operation with scientific notation, you have to know how to move the decimals, and you have to know your sig fig rules. Oh wait, I skipped one, I'm sorry. On this one, okay, you can all do math. You can all add those numbers, and if you can't, you have a calculator. So your raw number is your raw answer is 6.343. This is addition and subtraction. So the rule is the least number of digits behind the decimal. That means this becomes what limits your sig figs. You can have 2 behind the decimal, and so that means we're keeping that and rounding based on what comes after it. Our final answer is 6.34. I had a few people, and I did this on purpose. I did it on purpose because I'm evil, who fell for my trap that that's 1 sig fig. And so they put their answer down as 6. But that's the rules for multiplication and division. So be aware of the difference between those rule sets. Okay, let me get some of this junk off the screen here. Cut. So on the next one, this. Again, you have to know how to do operations with scientific notation. You have to know how to move decimals, and you have to know your sig fig rules. First raw answer you get is 0.8478269 times 10 to the negative second. Moving the decimal gets you, I didn't write that step in, 8.478, etc. times 10 to the negative first. And we can only have 2 sig figs. Both of these have 2 sig figs. Yes, sir? Oh. Well, let's see. Hold on. Wait. 0.847 blah, blah, blah times 10 to the negative second. If we go, oh, you're right. Yep. Yay! Yep. And I did my bumps and everything. I just forgot that it was negative. So sorry about that. So yeah, that should be times 10 to the negative third. I screw up too. I try not to make the same mistake twice in a day, so we'll see if I do that one again anytime. Thank you. Okay, so that should be 10 to the negative third. If you have 10 to the negative third, add 1 to your little score. Frankly, I'm not going to change it in the grade book because it's your pretend score anyway. But just so that you know that you got that right, add 1 to your score. Okay? Good catch. Thank you. Oops, that's as far as that page goes. Okay, let me get the next page in. Okay, for number 16, again, you had to know how to do operations, you had to know how to move decimals, and you had to know your sig fig rules. So on this, your first answer is 11.4 times 10 to the 7th. Moving the decimal gets you 11.14 times 10 to the 8th. There's only 1 sig fig in that number, which means your answer is 1 times 10 to the 8th. Not a whole lot of precision available from those measurements. Then you're calculating the volume of a box. You know how to calculate volume. when I say show setups and formulas, I actually, you can't see it here, I actually wrote length times width times height equals volume. On a test, if you screw everything else up, but I can see that you knew the formula, I will give you a point for that. If you screw everything else up, but you show me the formula and you show me your variables, I will give you a point for that. So we multiply those, we get a raw answer for volume of 3.7125 cubic meters. Pay attention to your units. Well, this is multiplication and division. I did this one on purpose too. If you're using the wrong rules, there's nothing behind the decimal here, and you would say 4 cubic meters. But this is the rules for multiplication and division, so you're limited by these two, which have 2 sig figs. So the correct answer is 3.7 cubic meters is the volume of the box. The next one, you had to remember how to do a density calculation, and I think most of you do. You've done enough density calculations in the last week or so that I think they're second nature at this point. We have a solid, this is kind of like the nickel calculations you did with the nickel shot, where you displaced water to find the volume of the solid. So density equals mass per unit volume. Again, if you screw everything else up, but you show me that you know the formula, I can give you a point for that. You screw everything else up, but you list your variables, I can give you a point for that. 115.0 grams divided by 9.70 milliliters, we get a density of 11.8556701 grams per milliliter. Well, the sig figs, did I screw up the sig figs on that? I did. That should be 11.86. 11.86 grams per milliliter. This is what happens when I'm doing 5 things at once. I apologize. Okay, 11.86 grams per milliliter. Let me fix that. Does that get anybody another imaginary point? Oh, there are only 3 sig figs. Okay, I counted right the first time. Sorry. Well, clearly I'm not competent to do anything this morning. But it was a new mistake at least. It wasn't the same mistake, and actually I didn't make a mistake. I just thought I did. So I don't know if that counts as a mistake or a negative mistake. I'm not sure. The jury's out. Okay, it should be 11.9 grams per milliliter. Sorry. Okay. And I think everybody calculated volume correctly. Everybody calculated density correctly. Sig figs always count. You always do sig figs. Okay, the last one. Again, if you show me that you know the formula, I can give you points even if you screw everything else up. Value accepted minus value experimental divided by value accepted times 100 gives you % error. Now in this case, actually, and I don't think anybody got the sig figs right on this one. It really should be 0.2000% error, and I fudged it here. So these sig figs would come from this. These sig figs assume that your measured value is where your sig figs are derived from. So most people put 0.2% error, which is the right raw answer, but you actually have more precision than that. So you should add the zeros in that case to show the level of precision that you got. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Historically, here's what I'm going to say. Chapter 2 is not hard stuff, but historically it is the lowest test grades of the year. Only because the conversions really trip people up. So you're learning these new rules. You need practice. This is my, let's see, what is it that I call this pep talk? I don't remember. I've called it different things over the years. But I'll get, who here has ever chopped wood? Okay, I'm going to assign homework. I'm kidding. Who here has ever done any kind of physical activity? Athletics? Who here knows how to ride a bike? Good. Okay. I was going to worry. So, my daughter got her training wheels off this summer. Memorial Day weekend, we took the training wheels off. And she immediately drove directly into a ditch. And we picked her up, and she got back on the bike, and she rode a little bit further down the road, and then she drove into the other ditch. And, you know, this is how it goes. You all got your training wheels off at some point. You remember the scars. You probably still have them. This is a lot like riding a bike. So the point is that about an hour into the ditch, gravel, ditch experience, my husband said to her, honey, maybe we should just put the training wheels back on for now. And she said, Dad, I just need more practice. Awesome. And we didn't put the training wheels back on. And, 8 hours later, yes, she got obsessed. 8 hours later, she was fine. You're learning to ride a bike. Using the book, using all your notes, using your practice stuff is your training wheels. You're going to drive into the ditch. You may have driven into the ditch on a few FIP quizzes here. The goal for me is to create opportunities for you to drive into the ditch where it's pretty low risk. The test, we're getting the training wheels off. You're out on the real trail with other bicyclists. I'm extending this metaphor. I don't know how far I can take it, but we'll keep trying. The point is it takes practice. So I've been trying to give you opportunities to practice and low-risk opportunities to see if your practice has paid off. But you have to do the practice. And now I'm going to switch metaphors completely and go back to the chopping wood, which is my usual metaphor for this. Chemistry is like chopping wood with your brain. It may not be the best metaphor. You build muscle. And to build that muscle, you have to keep practicing. So, the brain gets a little sore sometimes. What I will say is this, and I've seen this is my 8th or 9th, I forget how many times I've taught chemistry now. I've been doing it a while. What I've seen again and again and again, if you do the practice, do the work, even as the subject matter gets harder, you will get better at it. So the first 9 weeks sometimes is a little bit of a reality check, sometimes it's a little bit tougher, sometimes it's not. I've had a few students over the years for whom they cruise right into the first semester and there's no little adjustment. It's not like going from a paved road to a gravel driveway. They just go, phew, it's perfectly smooth. But for a lot of students, there's a little bit of a bump. And if you're having that bump, keep practicing. I have not had a whole lot of people coming in for tutoring. I think I've had one person come in for any kind of tutoring, 2 people. So if you need help, it's on you to come get it. I mean, I'm here, on paper I'm here 2 days a week for tutoring, but honestly I'm here pretty much every night for at least an hour. So, and I'm always here, latest I've been here this whole year is 7:15. This morning I was here at 6:45. I'm generally here by 7. So if you need help, I'm very willing to help you. There are practice problems on Classroom with keys. If you want to re-FIP yourself, I can make additional copies of the FIP quizzes. Some people like to do that. They take the FIP home and clear the desk and, do another FIP for themselves with a timer running. Do whatever you need to do, but you can do this. I've never had anybody who didn't get through chemistry who was trying, ever. So, and I've had people who came in all kinds of places with science, with math, with whatever else. I had a young lady one year who walked in and said to me, and I quote, "Well, I'm probably going to fail your class." Well, hi, how are you? And she said, "I'm really bad at science, I'm really bad at math, but I need this because I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to have to take chemistry." Okay. She did not fail my class. I think she even got a C 9 weeks. She had crippling test anxiety. She was way behind where, her math was really weak. Math was her real serious weakness. She worked. She did all the practice. I think she might have failed every test. Cheerfully. Oh my God, she was so sweet. She was so nice. I felt terrible grading her tests. But she did every scrap of homework. She did every practice sheet. She did all the FIPs. She would, and part of hers, because it was test anxiety, she would very often do better on a FIP than on the test. So if you need to psych yourself out and pretend the test is a FIP quiz, go for it. If you want me to say that to you as I hand you your test, I'm willing to. I'll lie to you if it helps. So anyway, you do have to just keep practicing. But with practice, you will get this wherever you're at right now. So. Questions, comments, concerns? 9? Okay. Tomorrow when you come in, we'll have the short multiple choice and then some workout. 10 to 15 multiple choice questions, some workout. If you need to take it into study hall, you can because we have that option on a Friday. So, that's what we got. Okay?
Are labs due tomorrow?
Labs are due tomorrow, yes.